You ever been in that moment, you finally set a boundary, or you ask for something you really want and you get rejected? It's this universal feeling, right? But man, does it feel incredibly personal when it happens. So let's get into it, because really understanding this fear, that's the first step to not letting it run your life. And this, right here, this just nails it, doesn't it? A user on Reddit put it so simply: the rejection still stings. Even when you know, logically, you did the right thing, that sting is powerful. It can make you second guess everything. It's a frustrating and, yeah, a deeply human thing to go through. So that's the million-dollar question we're tackling. Why? Why does the idea of being unwanted feel so devastating? The answer is a little more complex than you might think, and it all starts with making sure we're using the right words. Okay, to really get to the heart of this fear, we need to draw a line in the sand. A lot of us just call this whole feeling social anxiety and leave it at that. But there's a really important difference we need to talk about. First up, we've got social anxiety. The easiest way to think about this is as a fear of performance. It's that worry that you're going to say the wrong thing at a party, or that you'll look awkward giving a presentation. The fear is all about being judged for what you do, a kind of public failure. But then there's this, which is way more specific: rejection sensitivity. This isn't about your performance, it's about the interpersonal outcome. It's like your brain has its rejection radar turned all the way up, constantly scanning for any sign that you, personally, are being pushed away or disliked. The fear isn't about what you did, it's about who you are. And this table, it just lays it all out so clearly. Look at the primary fear. For rejection sensitivity, it's personal abandonment. For social anxiety, it's just being judged in that moment. Or the trigger. For sensitivity, it can be something as small as a perceived slight, like someone not sounding warm enough over text. For social anxiety, it's more about big upcoming events. Getting this difference is absolutely key, because it helps us figure out where the pain is really coming from. So what happens when you take that rejection sensitivity and you crank the dial all the way up to 11? Well, that brings us to something more clinical, a term that researchers are really starting to pay attention to: rejection-sensitive dysphoria. Rejection-sensitive dysphoria, or RSD for short, is pretty much what it sounds like. It's not just feeling a little bummed out. We're talking about an extreme, overwhelming, and genuinely painful emotional reaction. And notice that it's to real or perceived rejection. Your brain doesn't know the difference. And as experts like Dr. William Dodson have pointed out, it's very often linked with neurodivergence, especially ADHD. So what does an RSD episode actually look like? Well, that's what's so wild about it. It can be triggered by someone else, sure, but it can also be triggered by your own self-criticism. The mood shift isn't gradual, it's like a switch flips. Instantly. The pain is described as unbearable, and here's the kicker: it can go one of two ways. If you internalize it, it can look just like a sudden major depressive episode. But if you externalize it, it can come out as an explosion of rage. This quote from a patient says it all. The emotional pain is so intense it actually feels physical. It's not just a sting in your heart, it's like a punch in the chest, a real wound. That's the intensity we're talking about here. So the big question is, what on earth do we do about it? Okay, enough about the problem, let's talk solutions. Because the goal isn't to somehow live a life where you never face rejection again. That's just impossible. The real goal is to build resilience, to build what one patient beautifully called emotional armor. So let's open up the toolkit. I absolutely love this little story from therapist David Burns. It just sets up the first strategy so perfectly. You can't get over a fear by avoiding it. The only way to prove to your brain that the monsters in the basement aren't real is to march down there, flip on the lights, and say, all right, let's do this. And that's exactly what Dr. Aziz's strategy is all about. It's a two-parter. First, you face it. You actually go out and collect no's on purpose. Ask for a free coffee. Ask for a discount. The point is to just get used to hearing the word so it loses its power. And second, and this is huge, change the language. Stop calling it rejection. That word is so heavy. Call it what it is: getting a no. It's not a judgment. It's just information. So that strategy is your long-term training plan, right? It's like going to the gym for your emotions, building up that muscle over time. But what do you do when you get hit with a no that really hurts right now, in the middle of that emotional storm, when you feel that punch to the chest? For that, you need a totally different kind of tool. And that brings us to this incredible concept from dialectical behavior therapy called the wise mind. It's such a cool idea. It's not about being cold and logical, and it's not about being swept away by your feelings. Your wise mind is that calm, centered place right in the middle. It's the part of you that can see what you feel and what you know are both true at the same time. And how do you find that wise mind? You ask yourself good questions. Instead of spiraling, you just pause. And you ask, okay, what emotions am I actually feeling? Or how can I soothe my body right now? And maybe the most powerful one of all, what would I say to a friend if they were going through this? These questions give you just enough space to breathe and let your wise mind show up. And that brings us right back to where we started. This quote from another patient describes what it feels like when you use these tools. It's not that the world stops throwing things at you, but now you've got emotional armor. You're protected. You're not walking into every interaction feeling totally raw and exposed. So if you take one thing away from all this, let it be this. This is the fundamental shift we all need to make. A no is not a final verdict on your worth as a human being. It's not a judgment. It's just data. It's a data point, a signpost on your path telling you, hey, maybe not this way. Let's try another direction.
So I'll just leave you with this idea to chew on. We spend so much time and energy trying to avoid hearing no. We see it as this big, scary door slamming in our face. But what if we've got it all wrong? What if the next no you hear isn't a door closing at all, but a compass showing you exactly where you need to go next?